Okay, so welcome to Sports Globe, the place where we talk real sports fan stuff. Thank you very much for joining us, and I want to invite you to come onto our platform and like, share, and subscribe to our platform, and join into the conversation as well, where we talk about all different aspects of sports and exactly what is on our mind. Today my name is Richard, and of course, I have Rudy with me, an Olympian. Rudy, you might want to introduce yourself to our viewers.
Yes, pleasant good evening to all my listeners from far and near. My name is Rudy Sylvan. I'm an sports, and we want to talk sports and give our point of view and get your point of view in what sports is like for you and for others. So just tune in with us, hanging with us, and you will certainly see and hear some great things.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Rudy. And of course, Rudy, you said that you participated in the Olympics, eh?
Yes, I did in the 400 meters. It was really tough. It was an experience more than ever. It surely is something that you don't. It's a lifetime thing. It is more for country
Mhm,
than your own self at the time,
mhm.
and certainly it's something that I was so grateful to do for my country. And you cannot get better than that to wear the country flag and to it's the biggest honor. I missed out on the World Championship and two other Olympic Games due to injuries. Um, and when you think about all the greatness that comes from the sport itself, there is nothing beyond the Olympics.
Yeah.
That's where sports stops. It stops there. So when you could get as far as sports can take you, look at great basketball players and great other basketball like Michael Jordan,
Mhm.
and they want to get to the Olympics. You see LeBron James and Stephen Curry, they want to get to the Olympics because that's where the sport stopped for them. It didn't just stop as winning an NBA title. It goes as far as as the Olympics. So certainly it's a great honor, and certainly my desire as a coach now, trying to help others to get as far as the sports can go, as far as the Olympic Games. I'm getting close. My athlete went as her biggest stage is the Commonwealth Games so far, which
Mhm.
is which is good. So we are getting close and closer and closer to the big
Olympics.
show. So certainly, yeah.
What's their
Yeah.
athlete name?
Makisha Welcome, triple jumper from St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Okay.
She's a over 14-meter triple jumper. And certainly, as I say, we're going to get to the point of the financial aspect because it is a struggle. Everywhere you go, it is tough, but certainly it can be done. It is not impossible, but surely, we'll like I say, we'll talk more about it of those who gain and those who don't,
Yeah.
those who want it and those who don't. So we'll get there soon.
All right. So now that we have you, Rudy, and of course, I appreciate you getting to the Olympic Games. And getting there, we know is not an easy task. Just to even make a country team. But today we want to talk. Well, our topic is going to talk about where's the money in sports, but we want to see what we know about the history of track and field and where it come from. I mean, what I have read and understand from my involvement in sports is that the Olympics start from AD days, long beyond Roman
Yeah,
days, coming all the way
yeah,
up.
yeah.
The Olympic movement is not just something that just started there. And basically, track and field, the sport of track and field is one of the oldest sports in the world,
Yeah, yeah.
right? I mean, lots of other sports start after track and field, and is one of the reasons why I question and I'm asking the question. And we invite people to come on board and tell us what they too know about where is the money in track and field, because I think track and field that had started from all the way back then. The Olympic movement must be from 1820 or some 18 something when it all
Yeah,
started,
yeah. We all
right?
started.
Of
Yeah.
the Then we have the World Championships. Um, but yet still, track athlete is one of the least paid.
And going back to with the finances about it, I've read that I was watching it here. I think I have a few notes here right now that I think Paris, the last Olympics in Paris was the first Olympic that offer money.
Yeah,
The first
yeah,
games
yeah.
from
It's
all
Paris
these games,
first time.
Paris was the first
Yeah,
one a gold medal get $50,000. The
yeah.
first ever that
Foot-
done it, and hopefully it's going to be something that will continue on. And it takes a long time to get there, a
Yeah,
very long time.
and for the
Yeah,
Olympics being the top of the sporting mecca of the world, every
of the
sporting
world. Yeah,
discipline
yeah,
want to be able to make it to the Olympics. Even if your
yeah.
sporting discipline is not at the Olympics, now everybody wants to get their sporting
Get it.
discipline
Yeah,
to the Olympics. I can remember when
as
it
you
was
can see,
basketball.
yeah. So look at basketball, look at cricket.
Yeah,
Now it's going to be at the next Olympic Games.
yeah,
And then they bring in the American is bringing in because they're hosting. They cannot do their own, which is American football. They're bringing in something called flag football.
football,
So they are adding other sport that make it into an Olympic sport.
of course.
Certainly, but then the question always asked, where is the funding
Here's the money.
for where is the money for athletes and a whole? Um, and I'm doing a lot of research and a lot of things. And I remember when Shakari Richard came out,
Yeah,
um, she have a $20 million 5 year deal with Nike,
yeah.
and
But
that is really good. But it's
$20 million,
for
Rudy, that $20 million was over what, 5 years?
5 years,
So
five
he was
years.
making like $4
Yeah,
million a year
so it's $4 million a year.
for
Hmm.
one of the person who is on top of the pie,
Top of the world. No,
right?
no lies. Annual, I think right now is about 7 million.
7 million.
Um, 7 million. We got the grass
Yeah,
was the one that came in, and the grass did had a multi deal when he came in when he just started. Um, his deal was with Puma, 33 million or 30 million, something like that, where
but
he
that
was
was
making
over
about
5 years. That was over
11.5. So it's 11.25 million a year.
a year.
That's what he was making, and that's really good because, like I said, when he come out, and he was what, third in the 100, second in the 200, something like that, in the
Mhm.
days
Never
of
won
both.
that time.
And then
Yeah,
yeah, and so when we talk about it, when we talk about, previously we were talking, it's one chance, one opportunity, and you have to do it one time.
yeah.
A lot of times you have to do it one time because it's hard. You know, Sam, it's tough. Bolt couldn't continue on, and Bolt was the highest paid track and field athlete at what, 30 million.
30 million.
And then you come back to with the Tyson Gay was like 12 million,
Yeah,
and Asafo Pal was six
six
point
million.
five million. Yeah, and then you keep going down on it.
Shelly and Fraser was what, $4 or $5 million
4.44,
a
yeah,
year,
$4 million. Yeah,
years
yeah,
even
$4 million, right?
before.
So
It is
yeah.
it is and what is so shocking to me though, Rudy, and we're going to talk about it more as we go along with with different videos, is that what is shocking to me is that the way these athletes and the amount of effort and time and money that is put into preparing them
Hmm. Yeah,
for they have to be preparing for 4 years for one
for
Olympics,
4 years.
2 years for
Yes,
one World
4
Championship.
years. Yeah, yeah, for
You know,
4 years.
an
Yeah.
athlete that is in basketball or football, they are preparing for a game every year.
Every year.
So, and then in preparing a track athlete, your muscle, the demand you demand on your muscle, the amount of demand
Yes.
that you put on
The,
every
the,
single
the,
fiber
the
of
demand, the demand.
body.
And not only go back to on the demand, there is also, I know a lot of athletes as one of our hurdlers, world class hurdlers, and she always said, she said she was prepping one day to go out on with her friends, and bam, the door was knocking, which is the doping. You
Mhm.
know, there goes her day. She have to stay home. She have to make sure she follow the protocol and what they were asking. They could just show up at any time. They
Yeah,
can just show up at any time and it throw off your day. So everything had to be disciplined mentally, and that's why, in spite of other sport, track and field like, on a whole become such a mental game,
yeah,
and it's such a disciplined sport. Somebody once tell me, say, Rudy, if you the fact that you just having the Olympics on your resume open doors for you, because if you go and sit in an interview, the manager they will say, "Oh, I used to run in high school." They know the work they put in high school, and you went to college, or you went to and how you are at the highest level. They will see that work ethic that you have will come into our business.
Yeah, but Rudy,
And certainly, and that's what it is.
what bothers me is the amount of money that sponsors pay to athletes, right? At an average, when I was checking, at an average, Nike pays something like $80,000 a year, and we're talking elite athletes now, right? That's an average that they pay.
Well, put it so, that's Nike. I didn't get to look around to see others because Nike is a hard company to actually get in.
Adidas,
right, very hard.
Adidas was paying a little bit more because like Gabby Thomas, she was getting something like 280 something thousand as one of the highest paid athletes. She was getting something.
Who was that?
Like 80. Gabby Thomas.
Yeah, because even right now, she annual is 5 million.
Yeah.
And it takes a while to get there. It didn't just happen overnight. You didn't just wake up today and say, "Bam, you get it." So you have to put it work in, right? And that's what it is.
Yeah, hear the shocking thing about it though, and that's why I wanted to know, why is it that sponsors pay track athletes such little bit? I understand that they're saying the popularity of track and field is not as great as basketball, American football,
football,
cricket. I think that's what they call basketball. I think between cricket and American football, those top three. Because
baseball is in there too. Baseball is up there too.
Yeah.
Baseball should be up in there too.
Yeah, right. But those are the top ones. But track and field as a sport, when I remember who Usain Bolt was when you were competing, and when I think about names, then if I was supposed to think about names right now going around as sports people and popularity, I would think Usain Bolt was paid a percentage of what he was worth, right? Let's look at it. Tiger Woods, very popular. Michael Jordan, very popular. I'm talking popular sporting people.
Popular,
very popular, right? And when you talk about names, when whatever country you go to,
you hear about them.
You know who you are.
Yeah.
Right? Talking Jordan, Tiger
Cristiano Ronaldo, the highest paid the highest paid athlete in the world is Cristiano Ronaldo, making $265 million.
Yeah, right. And when you think about it, Usain Bolt is one of the top names.
Most popular, yeah. He was one of the most top icon name amongst all sports.
I mean, when you talk about the race car driver, what's his name from England, that get paid so much money, much more than his name.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Is not as popular as a Usain Bolt.
Not as popular as simple. Yeah.
Right?
Lewis Hamilton. Yeah.
His name. You see, we have to be trying to remember his name.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
To show you.
It's just funny because his family is Grenadian, so I should have picked it up right now. But the fact that we have to be able to find his name, it does say something. It does say something. Yeah.
When you think
it does say something.
When you think of popular names around the world, you would have
in sports.
Usain Bolt, and even if you put it outside of sports, if you think of Bob Marley, Usain Bolt must be rivaling Bob Marley in terms of name.
And even today. But even today in track and field, that name is still there. You don't hear the Carl Lewis anymore. You don't hear the Donovan Bailey. You don't hear those guys of the days. Even Michael Johnson, who was top tier in his event. You don't hear about Michael Johnson. You don't hear about Morris Green. You don't hear about none of these guys in them today. But you will hear both names every single time. Very much popular. Yeah.
People still calling for him to come out of retirement and come back.
Yeah.
That's how significant the man thing is.
Yeah. There was some big money to offer him to come back. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to tell you the name that is really, really popular that I think is going to live on for a long time is Jordan Bolt. I don't even know if Cristiano Ronaldo name is going to live on for a long time.
For a long time. Yeah.
When
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have people who transcend sports, those are two of the names who transcend their sporting discipline. And Cristiano Ronaldo hadn't done anything
Well,
different from what
he
Pele.
hasn't done anything, but the one in football that might live on for a while is we always hear of Maradona is might be Messi. That name Messi might stay on for,
Might, that might
but it's
stay, but
still not. It
still,
is still not
no, it's
compared to Michael
I
Jordan, no
I
Usain Bolt in
no,
sports.
I still will
Yeah,
believe that Michael Jordan, the name Michael Jordan,
name Michael
the
Jordan.
name Usain
Yeah,
Bolt are the
will stay on
names that
forever.
are going to be
Legacy.
stand up for years to
Yeah,
come, like how
yeah,
your Baba
legacy.
stand up for years to come.
Yeah, yeah,
Right? And
yeah.
people will always refer to that. I don't know if people going
Yeah.
to break his record or
Yeah.
record, right? But the
Even if they break it,
name
even if they break it, that name will still be around because
still going to
somebody
be
could come
around.
because it's what he has done. Most find most people come, do it, and you don't hear about them again.
Exactly. Because
You know?
Michael Johnson not run world records, he run both world records.
Yeah, yeah.
Usain Bolt was a whole different personality.
But even going back with Michael Johnson, when you hear of 400, you're thinking Michael Johnson in a sense, even though he don't have the world record. The world
Yeah.
record holder, you don't hear his name.
No,
You
no.
don't hear his name.
The bold personality
Yeah,
was a whole
yeah,
different, it was
yeah,
a
yeah,
whole
yeah.
movement. I
Yeah,
mean,
it was. Yeah.
the movement was about Usain Bolt with that whole shift, you
Yeah,
know.
but even now, when you speak of female sprinters, Shelly name is always on top. Shelly name is
Shelly,
always.
even though Florence Griffiths have the world record, right?
Shelly
Shelly
name is still there, and
and it was
even
like
though
the sport.
even though Hera run closest to the record, her name is still don't call her Shelly.
No,
Still don't
she
call her
had
Shelly.
a long
Yeah,
time there. She had
yeah,
done things over and over and over and over
yeah.
again.
And that's
You
what they're
know?
talking about. It's not the one time and you don't hear from me. Look at Jacob. Jacob came, the Italian, in windy 100 meter. We don't hear from him again.
No, that's it. You
You
understand?
don't hear him again. You know what I mean? So
Usain Bolt, with I look at something recently that says Usain Bolt must be valued 90 to 100 million US dollar in terms
yeah,
of value. I feel it's much more than that,
I
but
feel it do. I think it's more than that.
much more. I don't think that Usain
Yeah.
Bolt has gotten a fraction of what
Of
is
of
value.
what it is, what the value of who he is,
No, no,
and the
no.
name, the value of the name. Usain Bolt name should be legacy in terms of his own signature shoes now, spikes,
He
and
has
that's what
signature.
Puma, the
He
signature.
has signature stuff.
Yeah,
He has
yeah.
signature stuff, but he has signature stuff not like how Michael Jordan
Not
had,
the Joseph Michael Jordan has it. Yeah,
right? They haven't moved him into that kind of category that he has a signature sneakers that you know. And of course I hear the American sprinter nowadays talk about it in terms of having that kind of a level because are Usain Bolt deserve? I don't think Lies deserve that yet, but I think a Usain Bolt to what he had contributed to the sport.
you see, there's a difference between those two athletes.
Presence.
Those two athletes, there's a difference. Even coming up this year, we don't know what Noah Lyles will do.
I have no idea.
Guaranteed of him winning. When Usain Bolt get into a starting blocks, you almost believe he's winning. There is a 99%. And
Rudy.
you hear of the people in Europe, I hear them personally speak of the amount of money they will pay to come and see Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
The respect he gets on the world stage in Europe. I wonder if he get the same at home. I'm being honest. I'm being honest with you now. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? The love and respect he gets on the world stage, I wonder if he get the same thing at home. And I say that because people that name that because me that thing that he has with him, that bold aspect about him, that love he have for the sport and for the fans and for the people,
Yeah.
it's you don't get it from nowhere. And not much people know all came out and he tried to do something, it didn't work,
Yeah.
you know. And it's only Bolt. And anytime Bolt step on a track, the wall stand up. Every
Yeah.
time he walks, even though he's not competing, wherever he goes, the wall stand up.
To tell you this much, Rudy, and if you can go back to 2011 World
Yeah,
Championship, when Usain Bolt first started,
yeah.
You remember what happened? Usain Bolt first started, right? Took off his shirt and
Yeah.
proceed to leave the stadium.
Yeah.
What happened, if people don't remember, is that everybody who paid the premium money, they paid the top dollar to come into the stadium to watch an event, right? This is the World Championship we're talking about, you know. So it's lots of money you pay to come in.
Yeah.
Literally every single person in the stadium got up. When Usain Bolt was, it's almost like they were going to meet him outside.
Yeah.
When the guy was going through the tunnel, everybody got up, left the stadium. In nowhere in the world, no sporting discipline that I can recall in my lifetime
Ever see that?
ever seen that happen. And it's not that they leave the stadium because they feel like them was against an athlete or something. Because you know, in football stadium, your team not scoring, a lot of people just get up and leave the stadium. But
yeah.
this is like, yo, we come for see the man I run, and we not see the man I run. We not even care about the money where we just pay while I left still. And people got up, thousands of people got up and left the stadium.
Yeah.
Right? When you won, there was almost like very little people that was there. I've never seen that. It does show you how remarkable, as great as LeBron James, as great as Michael Jordan is, as great as even LeBron is, they have never done that.
Yeah.
Only man. Secondly, why I think this guy personality and this thing is way above many of these athletes is that when you go to England, English people, I mean, first world country don't give up their taxes for nothing in the world.
Yeah.
Who you are, they don't give up collecting their taxes for nothing. As a matter of fact, if you commit murder in some of these countries, you get less sentence than if you thief the money. You get more, right? And Usain Bolt refuses to run in London. And the people have decided to go and change the tax route, the tax laws to suit the guy. I've never seen any sporting person do that before.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I'm saying. Usain Bolt had not gotten. And it says something about what track and field is. So now track and field is on the top of the pile because Usain Bolt was way up there. The track and field was being viewed by millions around the world while he was running. But yet still,
well, and then you see there is some sort of money. There was always money, yeah. Go back with Carl Lewis and those guys and that crew. They will go Europe and they'll be coming back with a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because back then, just giving them money, they can travel. It was an easier traveling aspect back then, and you know, God knows where they put those money when they're coming back because they have to declare some money, they have to hide money, all kind of thing. Yeah, there's a lot of things. And if you listen to the story of these guys and them, when these guys and them speaking, you know, listen to Carlos and them and say about way they have to hide money to, you know, they have to hide all over themselves to bring it in back because they just give them cash when they're out in Europe, you know.
Yeah.
So there was money in the sport, like again, come back again in Europe. There was money. You see, recently you have Athletics Canada start giving money as well for the athletes. You understand me? 20,000, 15, and 10. I don't know the US what the US is giving, and I don't know what other countries are doing. And I know
not much.
Yeah, and I know. But then here is the thing now. I mean, we're talking about sports. We're gonna get back to track and field and a whole a little bit. Now you come to the NIL deal. Now you come with college athletes who being paid. And we talk about it, they talk about it in a sense where it's college athletes being paid. Well, no. Some.
Yeah.
And some sport. Basketball and football.
Yeah.
Those are the two sports. Them other sports don't get nothing.
Nothing. No.
It's the opportunity is there for them to get an NIL deal. It's there. But it's nothing. You understand what I mean? And you look at Shadow Sanders, who was drafted 5th round.
Mm-hmm.
Where he could have made, if he was dropped in the 1st round, could have probably make about 40 million.
Mm-hmm.
Cannot go back to college because what he's paying now, he was making more than that in college on the NIL deal.
Yeah.
So sometimes, and that's why you see, I noticed in the NBA draft this year, A few of the players they went back to school. So what they are making an NIL deal, may as well stay there for another year and make it.
Of course, you can always go school anytime in a Rudy.
Always, always.
We had a coach in Jamaica that when we qualified for the 98 World Cup, when he came to Jamaica, Rene Simoes, when he came to Jamaica, there was a youngster that was going to one of the high school that he drafted for the national team, and he got him a contract in the UK, and everybody was saying, "Boy, but the youngster needs to go to school." So he said, "Hey, listen." One thing he said at the press conference, he said, "Hey, listen. I don't know what everybody's harping about. School is somewhere you can go anytime.
Anytime.
But if you get a sponsorship or a scholarship, it's not something that you can go back and get it anytime." So I know a lot of the athletes nowadays, what they're doing is that a lot of them, when they leave high school and they make it to the colleges, when they reach the colleges and they're going through the first freshman year and thing, they start to get a sponsorship and they take the sponsorship and go pro.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people questioning why they're going pro now as opposed to finishing school. They are finishing school. So
they are finishing school. They are finishing, and they'll finish school because school could be done online. School could be done anywhere. It doesn't have to be in a classroom. Yeah, there's a lot of athletes. I see you hear about a lot of basketball players, Shaquille O'Neal and all these players. They went back to school after they're done. Even while they was in school, they went back to school because it is something that it always did. Opportunity comes one time.
Yeah.
You don't come around. Listen, not everybody that get a second chance.
No, but you can't get a second chance because when you turn 25, 26, 27 in sports, it's almost like
it's almost you're done.
Yeah,
you're done.
Your peak time is going to be during your 20s.
There's not much.
Pass, you're done.
Listen, Shelly's running at a level at her age.
Yeah.
Name one other athlete that was
40 years old is no easy thing. I can't tell you that much.
Not an easy thing. Right? Never tell me. I know.
No.
You understand me? And so you don't have, so your average is maybe 28, 29, maybe 30. Average.
So if you get
and then here's the thing too about it. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have these young kids coming up. So you're going to reach at a certain age, and if you don't grab what you need to grab now, those young kids is coming up and grabbing. Puma is giving a lot of sponsorship to a lot of people, a lot of athletes. Puma don't just come and give you sponsorship. You have to have an agent. You have to have the process. It's not just Bambi giving you. Yeah. So you have to go to the stuff. But you see, my thing about it now, like you said, a lot of these athletes, you don't hear from them. You don't see them.
No.
You don't see them on the world stage. A lot of them will sign with Puma or GoPro, and they cannot make a US team. They cannot make a Jamaican team.
Yeah.
They cannot make a British team because it's not as easy. It's not a walk in the park.
No.
Some of them, for their countries, smaller countries, yes, they'll make a team easy. You know what I mean? And then even when they make the team, what is the performance for you when you get there? Will you make a semifinals? Will you make a finals? Is it first round only? There's a lot of little things, and there is bonuses. I remember I listened to what Canadian sprinter
DeGrasse?
No, former 100 meters in the days of not Carlos, but in the days of the American
You mean Ben Johnson?
No, after him. What's his name? Just go and blank on me. I can see the face of the name.
Jamaican guy?
Yeah, the Jamaican guy. Yeah. And then he said that.
You mean Bailey?
Donovan Bailey. Yes. Look at my point. His name is not even there.
No.
He's an Olympian, right? His name is not there because their name don't stay. They come and go, and a part of it too that they don't give back. That is another thing. You see, they don't give back. You don't see them until there is something for them. Bolt can go anywhere. Bolt is invited anywhere. These guys don't get that opportunity to get invited in certain places. You get what I'm saying? Bolt will get invited in things that have nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing. Just his name alone could get him a Manchester United team to play football. His
Yeah.
name alone. You get what I'm saying? So you have to have the difference. But he said when he win the 100 meters, he wasn't thinking about I just win or how fast I run.
Mhm.
He said he's thinking about ching ching ching
Yeah.
ching because every round is bonus.
It's
Every
bonus.
round is bonus.
Yeah.
Every round is bonus. Every round is bonus. And that's why you see a lot of what happened in this previous Olympics. A lot of athletes went to the Olympics. Some of them didn't compete. Some of them compete, couldn't finish. Some of them was injured and they was competing because their sponsor bonus when you make the Olympics.
Yeah.
You don't get bonus sitting at home. Even though you qualify and make, you have to be at
Yeah.
the Olympic Games to get bonus.
Yeah. You have
Run or not, you have to be there. So a
yes.
lot of athletes was at the Olympic game. They was injured,
But
but
a lot of money.
a lot of them, but it's money. That's bonus for them. So when you sign those contracts have stability with it. Things they will want to do, things you have to do, things you want to do. So it also not just like yes, I get a sponsor because sometimes a lot of athletes they might get it 1 year and then you don't hear about them again.
And that's the problem that I have with track and field is that even the
Yeah,
bonuses are so small, and just to come back to what we're talking about, is that the money in track and field is so small, right? And I want to leave something out there for a lot of us as fans to think about. Do you know that even though Michael Jordan um, branded branded shoe sell a lot for Nike, you know what sporting discipline apparel, which includes shoes, sell the most? You might think it's football, and maybe we need to go research it a little bit more. But sneakers
yeah, running shoes,
associated to track and
all
field,
sports, all sports.
right? And more track and field than every other sport.
Yeah.
Sneakers is one of the highest sold apparel
Mm-hmm.
in the world. But
In
yet,
the world.
right? Yet still, the sport that deals or have anything to do with sneakers and the design and the build and the comfort and all different values of sneakers, right, has to do with track and field. They don't the companies don't give any credence to the sport that has to do with that.
Yeah.
Because as they design the different spikes, that's how they design the different sneakers too,
Yeah.
right? With the comfort level. And if you're buying a sneakers now, they're talking about super light and
And
breathable
all these things in
and
them. Yeah.
all
Yeah.
kind of these things
Yeah.
that goes into making a spikes.
Into making that spikes.
What
Yeah.
athletes would require of them for their performance equipment. That's what goes into it, but yet still they don't give any money to it. And one of the things that we might want to do, Rudy, maybe for our next, is find out what's the kind of money, how much money that sneakers sold each year for
Sold
any
each
of
year.
these companies, right?
Yeah.
Because I
Because
remember
and
when this is
also
going on,
running.
yeah,
If you go back to any sport, most of the sport have to do with running.
yeah,
And and a lot of if you go back to a lot of the football players, they do
lot
running
of
everywhere.
running.
Not only on the field, they do it on the road too. So they don't they don't use the soccer shoes on the road.
No,
And sometimes all the time they have on their soccer shoes even when they're on the pitch on the field. So they have to have a sneakers on to run with because they cannot use your soccer clicks when they go to the gym. It has to be a
no,
sneakers.
that's
It
what
has to be a specific,
performance.
every sport, even if you look at the sport as high jump, javelin, all the jumps, everything, they might have a specific spikes for it, but in the end, they need a running shoes where they can train. In the end, they need a running shoes. Basketball, yeah, they want the basketball shoes, which is fine. But if they're doing a mileage run, they need sneakers. You cannot do the
Always,
same concept in basketball shoes. Um,
always,
every sport you think about come down to the same thing of
always,
need a
always.
Snickers
But
to
yet still,
run in.
they don't put that money back
They don't put the money into the
into
athlete.
the track. Yeah, they
You
don't put
don't put
that
it
money
into the sport. You don't put it into the athlete,
back.
and as they don't put it back as we would like to see. Because they give. They invest, they sponsor some games, but they don't put it back as they should in terms of what they are
No.
making.
Yes.
Because what
Yes.
they make and what they give is two different things.
Rudy,
You understand?
yes, they
Yeah.
sponsor, yes, they're giving up. But when you look at basketball players right across the NBA, nobody earning any hundreds of thousands. Every single basketball players is in the millions.
Yeah.
Every single NFL player is in the millions, right? They're not into hundreds. They're into
Yeah,
millions.
the days of that is no longer there.
It's gone.
It
What's
used to be a guy coming in making a $200,000-300,000. That no longer
a
there.
long time, man. NFL and
That
basketball,
was, yeah.
millions.
Because the game, there is more games now than there was before. It's been advanced to more games. And certainly we've seen a difference in this sport, a difference in funding. I say all the time jokingly, but I say as old as Michael Jordan is, or even a Shaq. I'll talk about those two guys only. The type of money that there is today,
Yeah,
if it was then, they're not retiring. They
yeah.
still be playing basketball today at this age. Because I'm pretty sure all they need is a little 12 points from Shaq. You can get that.
And they can
And
get
a little 10 rebound right now. You can get that from Shaq. You get what I'm saying? And I'm saying that to say it
yeah,
because the money that is in the sport today, is there any value for it?
yeah.
And you don't see it in every athlete. And then, yes, an athlete must get paid. I'm not saying they're not supposed to get paid, but the type of money they're making, does it
Track and field is
worth it?
making
When you look at a sport as track and field, and they ask, well, why? When the Olympics, if there's no track and field Olympics, it's not an Olympics.
no,
It is not. And you hear people say that when track and field start, the Olympics start. You hear them say that all the time.
track and field is what makes the Olympics.
And most people will watch the track and field. Then we get a little swimming here. I mean, swimming might be the next thing. Basketball is not as much. Swimming is almost every day there is a swimming something. You understand? But track and field is the go, and people will tell you, I don't watch nothing else. I don't really come out here, and they don't want. Even with today in high school sports, you see, like I said, there's a difference in Jamaica because it's a fan thing, and the difference in, what is it, high school and a regular games in every sport. In a high school level, fans coming up because it's a school thing. I need to support my school, to be better for my school. But if you have a regular meet, you're not getting as much people out for that regular meet as it
And
will be for in high school. But let's go to Europe. Have a track and field meet in Europe.
everybody is out.
Sold out.
Yeah.
Sold out. They have a different mindset, a different thinking.
Again, to the history of the sport. Maybe it started in Europe. It started in Greece.
It started in Europe. It started in Greece. Yeah.
So that's
listen. People, I hear, in high school, we in my gym class, and I do my phys ed. And they watch little clips of video where there's a man, his mother died. Man said she died already. I'm not going to the funeral. Italy's playing. Italy have a soccer game. You know what I'm saying? So she really gone already. Like nothing I can do now. The man went to the soccer game. Listen, when you're a fan and the discipline and try to bring back to, is it because of the fan base?
Mm-hmm.
Why the funding is not there? Because if we get the support, there's a fan base now in the Olympics. That's why they can pay them now.
Yeah. There's always been.
There's always been, but because it's something that have to be fight for. Yeah.
Track and field is one of the oldest sports, right? One of the problem that we have, and we're going to have that discussion later too, is that why track and field takes so long to get to a professional level, right? And
yes.
And I suspect that is one of the reasons why the money inside the track and field is still not where anything is because it took so long to get it from an amateur, because everything track and field was so amateur. It means that you get no pay. Mm-hmm. You're doing track and field, you have no pay to get. There's no expectation.
There's no expectation.
And that's it, right? Now we have different. We started with We have Diamond Leagues now. Before we have the gold, what it was again? Something another gold it was before Diamond League. We had those track and field meet, and we have these meets coming up now, so athletes can earn some money. But one of the reasons I felt is because they had remained the sport for so long as an amateur thing. But tell you this though, Rudy, but it's not that they weren't collecting at the gate. It's not that the sporting discipline was not being sponsored. All of those years that they were collecting at the gate premium money, they were getting premium sponsorship, they were getting television broadcasting rights, they were getting everything, but they wasn't paying any money to anything. The Olympic movement will tell you that, oh, a lot of their money they give back to countries for development and things. I hear that, but I don't even think they give back anything
as
they should, since as the sport was amateur, right? They haven't given back. So, hence the question and things that we need to look at. And, you know, I want our viewers as well to be able to talk to us in regards to this. And if they feel the same way about it too, is that over those numbers of years, when they weren't paying athletes anything, where those monies are.
Where those money are?
Yeah.
Who was getting the money?
Because
who was getting the money?
Movement is one of the richest movements in the world.
Yeah, in the world, yeah.
The World Athletics just started
few years ago. Yeah.
Started a few years ago, right? Even though we had the IAAF, even that started a few years ago too. Right, but even for the Olympic movement, they were collecting for years. Money they still had to pay to come to the Olympics. They still got television broadcast rights and premium money for those things, and they still got lots of sponsorship all over the world.
And it should also be due to the NIL deal now that on some games like student games and beyond, you know, they should be paying the athletes. Athletes go and perform in this world level should be getting some sort of funding, and you can break it down, and break it down and then find that sponsorship for that prior to, because most of the times, you know, 2 years in advance you have an event. It's not 1 year, you know that. And there's a lot of money out there. There's a lot of people out there who want to support. There's a lot of people, man. Lots.
I tell you this much, Rudy. One day I want us to talk about, and I'm going to share my own opinion on Jamaica's track and field too, right? As one of the members of track and field right now. High school championships in Jamaica makes a lot of money, but the athletes don't get any support from it.
Any support from it.
Of recent times though, I hear that some of the money is filtered down to the schools. How that is distributed or whatever, I don't have no understanding of it. But what I know, and I've always suggested this though, in my conversation, is that the star of the movie should always get paid.
Yeah.
However they want to do the payment or however they want to contribute to the star's life. These youngsters that come to Boys and Girls Championships every year, put a show on, you collect at the gate, but you never
give them anything.
At least that put on the show never feel any kind of a
appreciation.
Compensation, where they want to call it appreciation, where you want to call it, you're giving them money towards a scholarship to go somewhere, or you know, so if society wants, society can make whatever language they want to use to make those athletes feel appreciated from their performances, and the fact that you are commercializing their performances, you are collecting, but you never give
and
it.
You have to be able to give something, you know, and I say that in the sense that if you don't give it to them, give them a make it into like a gift card. You don't always have to be fine money up front. You know, I'm always skeptical of high school kids collecting money. I'm always skeptical about that.
Know that.
But at the same time, give them something. You know, if it's a $200 grocery card, if it's like something that, you know, as a because you can go out there and get those things. You understand? So at least they get home, they feel appreciated.
Rudy,
even a pair of shoes, even a pair of running shoes. Yeah.
You have your own athlete right now.
Yeah.
Aaron, right? No. Your athlete can go to a meet and perform. Now it requires 8 to 16 athletes to make the show go on, because
Yeah,
you're going to have 8 finalists, but before you get to 8 finalists, you might have to have 16 people in our semifinals
in the
or
semifinals.
finals.
Yeah,
Make the meet be something that people wants to pay to come, right? Because if you're just going to line up 2 athletes to run against each other, maybe people don't come.
made no sense. Nobody will come. Yeah,
So no, you have 16 athletes who come to put the show on. You are going to collect outside the gate. You are going to get sponsorship, right? But those 16 athletes never ever see anything. They just come put on a show and you just give them a medal
yeah,
around the neck
and
and
they
take
get them.
off.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
and it happens a lot out here. Even like here, we are in Canada and you see it as well. You have club meets and stuff, put the meets together, and it's a cost for it. It's not that it's free; it's a cost. It's almost like $30 an event. So you spend $30 per event, and you go there, and in the end, is one thing. If they give you something, you get nothing. Not even a medal, not even a ribbon, nothing that they give you, and that's where you look at a lot of things in the statement. Man, does that? Where's the value in it? Where is the value in all this stuff? Because then the club or whoever put it together is they are benefiting. Sometimes the officials who come in, they don't give them nothing. They just come in because they love to do it, and there's nothing in it for them. And so the athletes who's putting on the show, you may not have much in the stands, you may not have much people, but one or two people come out. However, the issue you have in here is that they pay $30 for what? And if you're doing two events, if you're doing two events, that's $60. So say everybody, let's say everybody doing let's just say you have 12 of every athlete in every event you have in, pay $60 because they do two events.
Rudy,
You know what I mean? So
as we wrap up and we talk it a little bit and we're very candid about it, we want you, our viewers, jump into the conversation. Tell us what you think. We're still searching for where the money is. This is just the beginning of the bigger search. There is much more to it, I'm pretty sure, and there's a lot more discussions to it.
Certainly, and we'll bring in some expert who've been around. We'll ask the questions. We'll speak to some people. We'll try and get the movements of right here as we are based here in Canada. Where is the sport going? From where it's coming out or where it's at from what it used to be. We're going to ask those in the Caribbean as well. We're going to reach out, to as far as we can reach out to build a profile on sport and where is it today from where it was yesterday. And certainly there is some different areas because we have a lot of kids who are coming in. Like, look at Grenada. One of my things in my country that I love my country very much, but they're always on, oh, where's the next Kirani coming? Where's the next? No, that is my thing. You don't hear that in Jamaica. Where's the next boat?
Yeah.
You don't hear that in other. So where's the next? And so a lot of these kids now feel like they are forced to run a 400, where they could run a 200, they could run I think they could do a long jump, they could do a triple, they could do a high jump. Yeah. They're more like, I'm forced to run a 400 because all I'm hearing is, when is the next Kirani? Right. Who is the next Kirani? Who is the next? No, let's just figure out who is the next top athlete. Who's the next top athlete? Kirani does his thing already. You understand, man? So it's the same thing. You don't hear that about you know what I said? We did say this when Bolt left, didn't leave the cupboard, the kitchen cupboard empty. We say something like that because the Caribbean look like we are the male sprinters after Bolt left. You trying to look at it. But they've been there, but they had to work hard. They had to work hard. It wasn't just a walk in the park. They had to work hard. They had to put in the work. And they did put in the work because we have seen it now. We have seen what, 5 years, can do. But then here's the question. Is it 5 years too late?
Yeah.
Because, you ask the question because it's like, are you going to be coming in like the Donovan Bailey? One time you come in, you win the 100 meters and then you're almost like done after that. Because he win like when he was 29 or 30. He win the 100 meters, and then that was it. That was that, right? So you kind of ask, are you, when are they going to start? Do we start the kids early? That's another question. Do we start the kids training at an early age, or do we let them just have fun and teach them the fundamental of the sport? certainly something, because then we bond them out before they get to the 23, and they're thinking about 23, 24 should be the peak age for them, where they go from 24 and 4 years later. Because when you really think about it, you're looking at an athlete maybe could do 2 Olympics,
Yeah.
as an average. That 3 Olympics is very hard to do unless you start at
Difficult.
the age of 18. Then even if you do 23 Olympics, putting you at about what, about 32, something like that, right? So even that is a little thing, but then you see a lot of these young athletes now coming up. We see the phenomenal young man in the US, Quincy, I believe that's his name, the 400-meter runner.
Quincy Wilson. Yeah.
Is he burning out?
Yeah.
Is he running too fast? Is he
I'm
too fast
asking
at this young age?
same question too.
Is it
44.
is it too fast at a young age? He's running 44 points, as this is what somebody do when they are 25, 26, 27. He's doing it now at the age of 18, 19. When
Yeah.
he gets there, what would he do?
Yeah.
Is he getting better or is he getting worse? Is he like, are we setting him up for failure? And that's why I ask the question, because a lot of times, we see talent and we feel like them kids have talent. They have talent. Let's get them in a club. Let's get them to do this. And then they burn them out. They
Yeah.
overdo it with them. I've seen there's a young lady in this part of this country called Kristen Brenner, a phenom 400 meters. At
Mhm.
high school, she did the 1, 2, and the 4. And the 100 and the 400 is back to back. Like, it's after the 100 meters is the 400 meters. How she do it, I don't know. But then the coach
They used
burned
to
her
do
out.
that, and that was,
She, she, she went to she went to the US and she could not last. She did not last a good 2 years in one school. Then she transferred to another school. I may say that because they've
don't
been burnt out. She
don't
going to every meet and compete. They're going, it's too much. We have seen it with us coaches in the US now. When them kids then go to the US, they race them. Every weekend they had a meet. Every weekend they're racing them. They burn them out because you pick, and I understand, because if I give you a scholarship, okay, I'm paying for your education, so you belong to me.
yeah. So the
In
school.
one sense. So that's understandable.
Mm.
So then another question now come back that we are going to talk in the future, and please give us, you viewers and listeners, please give us your view on that. Should athletes go pro at an early age or not, or skip college?
Yeah, we should talk about that for sure.
Should they skip college? Because you're on that program that works for you. Now you go in a college where you'll be racing every week. Is that a good thing for you?
Yeah. Well, let's see. Hey, Rudy,
you know?
I believe it right
Yes.
there. But for sure,
Yes, for
we have
sure.
to
Yeah.
talk
We
about, I
will
want to
continue
find
again.
where the track and field money is. So I want to know where it's
Yeah.
going and why it is
Mm-hmm.
not going in the direction it's supposed to
The
go.
direction is supposed to go in. Yeah.
Leave your views with us. Tell us what you think about and how can we find the money in track and field. Where is it going? Is it going to the Olympic movement? Is it going to world athletics? Is it going
Athletics. Yeah.
to private athletes, or it is going to somewhere that we
Some
don't,
athletes, or some athletes get in and some don't.
or some don't, right? But
Yeah.
we want to know
Yeah.
where the money is. But we
Yeah.
appreciate you stopping in and joining us. Remember to like,
Yes.
share, subscribe, and leave your comments. And we'll certainly follow you up in terms of your comments, and we'll raise the question that you raised with us as well as you raise them. So I want to thank you very much for joining us, Rudy. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much.
Coming.
Certainly, we're going to have a lot more to do. We're
Yeah.
going to work this the best we can, and talk sports. Let us speak about sports.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter what type of sport, or sports in general.
yeah. So Sports Globe
All right.
is for all sports fans. Let's continue talking sports all the time. So like, share, subscribe, and comment. Leave your comment with us. All right. We appreciate you. Thanks so much. Until another video. Remember, Sports Globe for real sports fans.